Hi, thanks for tuning in to Solimar Industries YouTube channel. My name is Matt. We're a water sports enthusiast and specifically E-foil dealer. And today I wanted to talk about the Waydoo EVO Pro Plus. This model has been available for a couple months, and we've learned a few things about it, and I want to share it with you. To get right into it, to start with, a few things. The remote strap goes on your wrist, has a quick disconnect clip. I find that this possibly could unclip while I'm riding, and I could lose my remote. So the way I get around that, I ran a zip tie through the clip and just remove that. You can squeeze it all you want, it's not coming loose. The remote does not float, and I just don't want to lose this. So that's something I recommend you do. It. Just a little zip tie keeps that together, and you don't have to worry about it, especially if you're letting other people ride your E-foil. You don't want them to come back and tell you they lost the remote. Number one. Second thing I'd like to share with you is on the first couple models or versions that I sold, there were some issues with this battery screen cracking. It happens probably specifically when you're pushing the battery into the board when you're mounting it. When it happened to mine, and initially I'm like, oh man, water's going to get into my battery. Turns out that's not the case. Waydoo has since fixed it. It has a screen protector just like your cell phone, and the original protector was actually thicker than the new one. So underneath is a normal screen just like your cell phone, and then on top has a screen protector, and it turns out the thicker version was brittle, and so when you push on it, it was cracking it. Not knowing, you think you cracked your whole screen, but really that protector comes right off. If you have one of those, reach out to Waydoo. They'll send you the new protector. It's actually thinner and more malleable, so it bends and won't crack. So I replaced one on this one, and no issues at all. So good news is, even if you do see a crack, there's no water's getting in the battery. It doesn't cause any harm. It's just a protector. So that's good news. Second thing I wanted to share with you is, so all Waydoos are this EPP foam, except for if you get the newest carbon fiber model. The EPP foam is great. It's lightweight. It's poured over a metal structure, so it's strong. It has a lot of great features. I love it for not banging into things. Like I can put it in the back of the truck, or I can put it on my boat. It doesn't cause any damage. Like I said, it's lightweight. It has a lot of great features. Also too, whenever you pull these out of the water, you end up laying them on the sand. The foam doesn't get scratched. It's super durable, but it is susceptible to getting cut by sharp edges. So don't lean anything on it or rest it against anything that's sharp. Don't bang it into anything that's sharp. It'll cut the foam and leave a lasting mark. The other thing that might happen is depends on how you transport it, but don't rest anything on it that's heavy and has a point. It'll leave a mark. So it doesn't do well for that, but otherwise I actually really love it. So I want to talk about that. One other thing that I think is important is the new EVO Pro Plus has a separate mast and motor, and they go together pretty easily. But one thing you'll notice when you first put it together, if you plug it all the way in, the two screws that hold it together, one screw will go in really easy. The other screw is going to be in a bit of a bind. So how I get around that, don't plug it in all the way. Leave it loose and start threads on both screws. You don't want to cross thread those screws. That'd be a nightmare. So just plug it in gently, start both screws, and then as you turn both screws equally, you can begin to plug it in all the way. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about on this particular mounting system, the way it works. The second thing I wanted to share with you is if you're riding salt water or dirty water, or if you happen to run this thing into the sand, the sealing connection is actually these plugs and these plugs. The metal part is not watertight. It doesn't seal. And after saltwater use, if you ride saltwater every day, it might be different. Every once in a while I'd recommend, but if you're an occasional saltwater use rider, I would disassemble this and clean all of this area and then re-lubricate with the grease on the connections to keep them sealed. So the connections are super sealed tight, no problem there. But I did notice I had sand in here, and with sand, if it's salt water, there's going to be salt in there, and it could create corrosion. So once this is put together, it's not probably something you would normally take apart. So I'm just letting you know, take it apart, clean it every once in a while to get rid of that corrosion in salt water. So on that note, your E-foil comes with grease. A lot of people ask, like, what do I do with it? Where do I put it? You put it around the sealing connections on the rubber components of the connections to just keep them that much more watertight. So put them on here. The other thing I recommend, especially with salt water, use a little WD-40 or whatever lubricant you choose. And when you're done riding, specifically salt water, pull the screws out, wash the threads, squirt a little WD-40 on there, and get rid of any water or salt in there to resist that corrosion. The other thing is, too, it makes them spin so much easier. You just don't want those bolts getting stuck in there, because then you strip a head, and you'll end up with a stuck bolt with a stripped head because it was hard to get out, and that's going to be bad news. So really take care of your screws. Use lubricant, keep them clean, and if the heads get worn, the Allen head gets worn, go get another one. Hardware stores have these screws. They're not too fancy. They're a 6mm screw. Most of them are 20 millimeters long, super easy to find. So buy a couple. The foils come with extras already, but there's no reason not to replace those when they get worn. You do not want to have a worn head. So that's that. Another thing I wanted to mention is, personally, I think you could probably save a little bit of efficiency by removing this cover. It doesn't do much except for add drag. This thing comes off really easy by turning it clockwise. And also, a benefit to it is if something comes into the prop area, it's more likely, in my opinion, without this guard on it, to just get shot out the back and not cause any damage. These props are plastic, and they can break pretty easy. So that's one tip I have for you there. Really good news is on the new EVO Pro Plus. Using the tool that's on your remote, you can easily, without any tools, replace the prop. This tool right here goes onto the nut. You hold the prop with your hand, you spin it right off. Really simple to replace. So that's a really nice feature. On that note, I would recommend taking the time to purchase another prop or two. Like I said, they're plastic. They can break easily and ruin your day. There's no reason not to have one of these sitting nearby in your car or toolbox or whatever, so you can quickly just replace it and keep riding. Two great things I wanted to mention. I just got the first folding prop that I've had. It's very similar to the original Waydoo Flyer 1 Plus folding prop, so I'm excited to get this on and try it. It comes with a new cap to replace this guard. So you'll lose the guard, which will increase efficiency. Replace it with this, and then you'll be running your folding prop, which, if it's anything like the last one, it was quieter, it was way more efficient, which is just going to make this big battery last even that much longer. And then, of course, if you're interested in riding waves, you have the folding prop capability. So I recommend looking into that. By the way, prices on all this stuff have come down from the Flyer 1 Plus by a good amount. So this is really inexpensive. And then finally, good news. A lot of people were asking, remember the nuts that were like this on the last Flyer 1 Plus Mast? The first versions of the EVO Pro Plus were coming with normal screws, cap screws. These are now being sent out with the most recent models that I've seen have these. So these are really great. I'm going to try to get a few in stock if anybody's looking for them. But so these are used to connect the mast to the board. So toolless, really quick, just spin them on with your fingers. They're great. So I'm happy about that. So I want to share that. So that's all I have. Just a couple tips that I think I've learned from the EVO Pro Plus. We've honestly had no issues with these things. you know, like screen protector is such a minor issue. Originally, I felt it was scary because I thought I ruined my battery, but it turned out to be nothing. So that's it. It's a great foil, super fast. The big motor is a no-brainer. I recommend the 6,000 watt motor. A lot of power. There's a couple wing options out there. I really would base that on your experience, and your weight seems to matter the most. But otherwise, this 90 liter Pro Plus is a really good compromise between the long and the short board. And honestly, I don't see much reason to buy anything else. Really great e-foil. If you have any questions, give us a call. Happy to talk to you and share with you what we know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Give you a review on the folding prop.